I'm Jim Czek. You're watching Kelowna Now. I'm here with Tania Gustafson with Fit Nutrition, and we're going to do gut check. This is our series that we do on Kelowna Now on nutrition. This is our second show, I think.
It is.
And it's sponsored by Fit Nutrition. Fuel, Ignite, Thrive.
Yeah. Fuel your body, ignite your metabolism, thrive through life. You don't just want to survive. You want to thrive, right? Thrive.
Everybody needs to check their gut, right?
They do, yes. All your health is made in your gut, or most of it. And the gut has been called the second brain because it's the controlling system of controlling your immune system. And so what we put in definitely affects what we get out of our health.
And sometimes that gut controls me for sure when I see a piece of cake.
It does.
It definitely convinces me to eat it.
It does. That's your ghrelin hormones.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, I can't, like, it's a wolf sometimes. It's just like, you see it, you got to eat it. So my best thing is just to kind of like not see it.
Not see it. That could be a sign that your blood sugar is unstable, actually, for those people out there. So you can minimize your cravings by stabilizing your blood sugar. And we'll have to do a talk on that.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think so.
For sure. Like, I see it more and more on the internet talking about what you put into your body and what you've actually done to the bacteria or your gut biome?
Yes, your microbiome, yeah.
So maybe tell us a little bit about that and how a healthy microbiome actually can alleviate a lot of the conditions a lot of people get.
It totally can. So we've got, there's hundreds of trillions of bacteria in our body, and we have good bacteria, we have bad bacteria, and what we eat, what you were just talking about actually was a really great example about craving the cake or craving something, right?
Sweets for sure.
Sweets is a lot. Sweets and salts usually is for a lot of people, sometimes the things that have high fat content, and that comes from if you've eaten, there's two ways it can come from, the unstabilized blood sugar, and the other way is that the more often you eat something, it's either going to fuel your good bacteria or your bad bacteria. And so the bad bacteria really loves those sugars and the sweets and the processes and all the stuff with chemicals in and all that kind of stuff. And so the more we eat of that, the more we feed it, so the more it grows, so the more it needs to be fed. So therefore your body is prompting you to eat that, right? To fuel it. So if we understand that, sometimes it's really hard to just not have those things, like the willpower you're talking about, right? Just FYI, willpower is not a strategy, people. It doesn't actually work. Sometimes you need to have some really solid nutrition principles behind it.
Cake will overpower you.
It will, because hormones are just giving you that physiological response. It's really not your fault. And I talk about that a lot with my clients. But so if you think about putting in more nutrient dense foods, then you will naturally feed the good bacteria, which is going to grow the good bacteria, which is going to request more good nutrients, and you're going to start putting more and more of those in. So you can then, shift the tide, so to speak.
I do notice it for sure. If I'm eating like I normally do, healthy, I'm not as hungry as much, and I don't have cravings. If I kind of fall off, like if I go to Vegas or something like you were just at.
I was just there.
If I go to Vegas or something like that, or somewhere where I'm not in my traditional routines, definitely I will eat some of the higher sugar foods, and then my body will want more of those too, right?
Yeah, and that's why. So now you know. So like when I travel, not to say that I don't eat fun stuff or whatever when I'm out, but I make sure to take the same things I take at home. Like, I don't know if you, we need supplements all the time. We have nutritional gaps, right? So I take my vitamins with me. I take my collagen. I take my things that I would normally do at home to keep me feeling as robust and energetic when I'm away, right? And then that helps too, because I'm putting more nutrient dense foods in, so that those times when I have those things that fuel the bad bacteria, it's minimized.
One of the things I try to do if I go on a trip is either stay in an Airbnb where there's a kitchen, or at least get a hotel with a kitchen so I can do breakfast in the room. And then sets the foundation. I'll do mostly eggs and stuff like that. And I can really set the foundation for the day.
Absolutely.
As opposed to going out and eating a sweet, like waffle breakfast or something like that.
Yeah, those hotel breakfasts mostly, they have the continental, which is like waffles or muffins or
pancakes,
all the bready type things.
Is that really eggs they put in those buffets?
I'm not sure. If you get the hard-boiled ones, sometimes your buffet will have the hard-boiled eggs.
Those are science experiments.
But no, I mean, if they're in the shell, you know that they're like the real eggs,
if they're in the shell,
right?
But there's the other ones that are just kind of like...
I don't know, right? So, you do the best you can when you're away, and that's the thing. But you're right. When you start off, it's so cliche, but when you win the morning, you win the day, and that's especially true on vacation, because you really don't want, you want to be enjoying yourself, right? You don't want to gas out and run out of energy partway through your tour or whatever else. So you want to stay.
You can actually save a lot of money.
You can,
and you can set the foundation for your day.
Absolutely. Totally. Yeah. We did talk about a bit of money saving the last time too. Right? Yeah. It's important.
So gut bacteria or gut check, how do people kind of check that and see if they're in balance, or what do they do to kind of figure out what they need to do, I guess, right?
Right. So you'll know. Okay, so if you're experiencing things like bloat or digestive issues or elimination issues, autoimmune, skin rashes or irritations, things like that, mood, any like mental challenges, mental focus, attention, memory, cognition, lack of energy, poor sleep, all of those things come from your gut.
And they say that now that sugar is linked to Alzheimer's and a few other things.
It is, yeah. Like they've been calling it type 3 diabetes for over 10 years now.
So sugar is like one of the things that's almost in everything that's processed, for sure. And sugar is like if you go to a restaurant, it's like sugar or bread, right? Like, and there's sugar in the bread.
There is.
And some, like, I think in England, even Subway, they classify the Subway sandwich as a dessert, like the bun as a dessert, because it's got that high sugar content in it, right? So it's kind of like a lot of bread has a lot of sugar in it too.
It does. So if you can even just eliminate that, especially when you're out, like if you're making better choices at home, like if you're, buying something from a bakery that has no preservatives, or you're having like a coconut bread or a sourdough or something really, dense with some nutritional value. Not that I advocate eating it all the time, because again, it is still processed, right? Yeah. But you're going to have better bang for your buck. But when you're out, if you swap that for like the salad options or the extra veg on the side or things like that, you get way more nutritional value. You'll have more energy later. Your blood sugar will stay stable. It doesn't do a crash as often, because you have fiber in there. You need that fiber.
So I've cut drinks out of my we should do a drink show one time too. Right. I've cut drinks out of my lifestyle, and I used to drink a lot of soda pop. I used to drink a lot of iced coffees and cappuccinos and all that kind of stuff. The only thing I really drink now is black coffee in the morning, and then just water for the rest of the day. And then in the evening, I'll drink sparkling water with like a basil, maybe some mint and some lemon juice and stuff like that. That's my fancy drink now.
Much better swaps for sure. Yeah, I mean, there's so many things in there, and like you had sent me that thing on the bromelated vegetable oils, the things that had been banned. And actually, if you look it up, and several sites, it says that it's banned worldwide. However, it's not banned in Canada. So I don't know.
We do a lot of that stuff. That's not banned in Canada. Like I think, like it's weird. Some of the cereals too, you can't even buy some of those cereals somewhere else, but you can buy them here.
But you can buy them here. Isn't that interesting? So if you're looking up, and again, with the things you can't pronounce, people, right? Those things disrupt your endocrine system, which is your thyroid. It can also affect all of those things we just talked about: your memory, your mood, your focus, your concentration, your cognitive function, because your body has to detox from all the chemicals. And someone like yourself, those where you were constantly drinking all that stuff, it's a constant supply.
Oh, I needed more. I was drinking like 4 or 5 iced coffees a day.
Yeah, and your body keeps craving more, right?
I think Tim's sending me letters like, where are you?
That's bad. It's so good that you're not doing that anymore. Like, you probably just extended your life by a decade because
the drive-thrus aren't busy anymore.
Because Jim's not there, right? No, that's a good thing. That's
actually, really I think I had fur growing on my tongue from all that milk.
Oh yeah, it's just so much.
Oh, it wasn't good. But you know what? You drank one, you craved another one. It was almost like a soother. You were just like sucking on this iced coffee all day long.
Right. And once you start replacing it, though, like you found out, it probably didn't take very long once you start adding more water. Water's huge, right? And did you know 75% of the people walking around today, about 75% are dehydrated. So it's not even just about how much water are you drinking, which quantitatively, ladies, 2 to 3 liters a day, guys, 3 to 4 liters a day. So if you're, and people are saying, oh my gosh, I only drank 2 glasses of water, I can just hear them out there.
But you get a lot from your food though too, depending.
You do get some, but still intaking it though, you should be focusing on that. And if you're not drinking very much, it's super simple to just add another glass. So I'm thinking, okay, if you don't normally have a glass of water with your lunch, we'll say I'm going to add a glass of water with my lunch every day, right? And look at that. They're grabbing water over there. I love it. Yay! Awesome. Love it. Got mine right here. I have my water bottle in the car. I never go anywhere without it because you just need that. It flushes out the toxins. And our bodies are meant to heal. And if we just think about it, right? If you I always tell my clients, your body is like your car. Your car in the driveway is your vehicle that drives you around town. This drives you through life. So imagine how well would
most people look after their car more than their body.
They do. But how well would your car run if you never changed the oil?
Put sugar in the tank.
If you never, did the coolant flushes and all those things and did all the maintenance, how long would your car last?
Not long.
Not long, right?
No, if it's for sure. Most people will look after their car more than they'll look after the vehicle. And this is the key point, right? That they drive around every day in. And if they could get another 10, 20 years out of their car, if they just did some maintenance. That's right. Right? Just some regular maintenance, that would be impressive, right? So.
Yeah, totally impressive. I mean, my dad's truck is over 450,000 kilometers on it because he did the regular maintenance. The same thing goes with our bodies, right? You can improve and preserve that. So it's like, do you want to drive a jalopy or do you want to drive a Ferrari? Like it's... And
I think sugar is, to me, it's a very addictive substance for sure. Like, because the more I eat of sugar, the more I want of sugar. And it's so many foods. And breaking the habit, really hard for a lot of people.
Yeah, it can be.
Especially if you're buying packaged foods, right?
Yes.
Because some people think that whole foods are tougher to cook and they're more expensive, it looks like sometimes. But I can tell you, even buying a pack of strawberries or raspberries will be about the same as that chocolate bar.
But in a different way.
It'll be, no, I'm just saying, price-wise.
Oh, price-wise.
Better to eat the strawberries and the raspberries than the chocolate bar.
Absolutely. No, for sure. And you get the fiber and the nutrients and all those things, and you can still get the sweet. And so, I mean, a lot of my clients, when they learn how to start replacing, and we talk about like that shifting that tide of your gut bacteria, as soon as they start doing that, it's amazing how quickly those cravings will go away. And the brain fog and all the things. It really doesn't take that long because our bodies are designed to heal. Yeah. And when we start giving it what it wants and what it likes, it's really happy.
Yeah, it responds well. I can relate. I used to smoke when I was a youngster. I smoked probably from grade 6, which was kind of a norm back then.
Wow, yeah.
Grade 6 till about 25, 27. And quitting, like the cravings were just drive you crazy. And then the further you get away from it, the better. But I found the same with sugar when I was trying to get off iced coffees. Yeah. I drank a lot of Coca-Cola.
And thinking about, it's a good that you brought that up, because when you try and quit other things like smoking or like alcohol or like, whatever, too many video games, whatever it happens to be, those kinds of things, like food is essential for our for our health. We have to eat. And so it's not as easy to kind of sometimes separate us, because there's all those things around, especially if you're prone to eating out a lot, just maybe for time, or maybe you kind of got into that habit and it's just easier for you. So now you have all the great intentions of going into that restaurant and ordering something, healthy or making good choices. And then you come out with something that you really didn't want and you go, oh, that's an amygdala attack, which could be another show that we could talk about.
There you go. And then lots of times I would find that I would eat for comfort sometimes too, as opposed to just eating because I'm hungry. And so what I've been trying to train myself to do is eat more for nutritional value than for pleasure.
Yes.
And then so that's tough, right? Like especially when you're in a restaurant and you're ordering, you're looking at the menu, just like, wow, especially what pictures are.
Pictures. We are visual humans, right?
Well, we are visual humans.
And so that's the thing you can do too, is also vision cast where you want to be, right? So because what happens usually is they'll be thinking, I'm going to dial in. I'm going to do it by goodness this time, right? And I have my willpower. Like we said, willpower wasn't a strategy, and this is why. Because the bacteria is controlling and the hormones are controlling you, right? And so if you start fueling properly and all the things, but if you vision cast ahead, because okay, well, when I'm trying not to eat that because I know that I will feel better if I don't. And so when I do eat that, there's the guilt and there's the, why did I do that? The after effect, right? And so if you think about that.
Not during.
No, not during. No, but it's a very short window after, and all of a sudden it hits you.
That's right.
And so then we beat ourselves up, and then we think, well, that was just a whole waste of time anyway. The whole weekend's ruined, and so I'm just going to...
third hot dog at Costco?
That's right. I'm just going to eat my way through the weekend, and I'm going to start again on Monday. No, you don't have to do that, because one meal, one choice that you made that you weren't happy with is never going to sabotage your progress. One is not going to save you, and one is not going to sabotage you. So you need to think about the long term. So if you vision cast far ahead and say, how do I want to feel in 2 hours? How do I want to feel in 3 hours? And so because when I ate, when I made those really good choices, I had energy and I was able to go out later and hang out with my friends. And I wasn't like, I didn't hit the couch at 5 o'clock and go, oh my gosh, I'm glad the day is over.
Let's do a whole show on this, because there's the wolf within for sure. And when you say vision casting, because that's the way to beat the wolf, I guess, right? Because I've got an example of a friend of mine that, and he'd gained a lot of weight, and he would sit down to watch a hockey game with those little yellow pails of ice cream. Okay. The yellow pail, and he would eat it with a soup ladle. Yeah. And he was quite overweight, but he said he couldn't stop himself. He said the wolf said it wanted the ice cream, and it would and he would feel comfortable eating it, but he ended up getting his stomach stapled later. But it was definitely something that controlled him, and I find that myself too sometimes. If it's in front of me, I definitely have less control than if I'm like visioning my day for, you know what I mean? Like if I was to sit in a room with a bunch of cheesecake, I guarantee you I'm eating that cheesecake. Yep.
I literally talked to a client about this yesterday. She had some issues with binge eating. Yeah. And so she's moved past that. But what happened recently now is her husband went to work out of town. And so in the evening now, she's sitting there and her kids are in bed and she's thinking, oh, I'm a little bit alone and I don't know what to do.
So she needs some comfort.
Yeah, she needs some comfort. So she couldn't really go out because her kids are home and they're sleeping. So she's like, well, I'm going to sit and watch the TV. And then she, grab a snack or grab this or grab that. And then she's like, oh, and I didn't want to eat it, but I'm doing this. What she was telling me, though, as we kept talking, she doesn't give her kids treats very much either. And she has them in the house just once in a while. They can have a treat on the weekend. But she had a few little things in the house. But where she was storing them is right in the same little cupboard right next to where she has this little compost bucket. And it was really, so you're in that all the time because you're prepping the vegetables and fruits for your kids. So she would see it all the time. So we talked about, let's just change your
willpower.
Right. And so even when she wasn't thinking about it, she'd open the cupboard and to put something away, and then it would remind her. Yeah. So we said, okay, well, let's just change your environment. She said, we don't have a lot of cupboard space. She goes, I don't know, maybe even in the garage. She goes, I only let the kids have stuff on weekends. I said, well, then you don't need to access that every day anyway. Let's put it in a Rubbermaid. Let's put it in the garage. Saturday when it's time or whatever, you let them have their treat after dinner or whatever it is. Then you go get it. And for those other things that we also talked about, the little Cadbury mini eggs, because Easter is coming, right? And those are literally like crack in a bag, let me tell you, right? People are just, they're on it. I love them myself too, my husband loves them. Buy the small things. So what we talked about, she had bought those too. So I said, this is what we do. Here's another strategy. If you buy them in bulk for your kids or whatever, you want to portion them out for Easter, do it. Portion it out. Put them in the bags. Put their names on it. Make up their Easter baskets. You're not going to go in and dismantle and rob your children's cute little Easter baskets that you've made, right? The chances are less, right? Because you portioned it out. Maybe save a couple for yourself. So you have that smaller bit and you didn't eat the whole bag, right? Yeah. You're still allowing yourself to have a treat because it's okay to have a treat, but you're not then opening the door for yourself to just go nuts because that ghrelin will start up again. Ghrelin is the hormone that makes you eat. I had a vision of
me checking the kids' Halloween candies there. Because you're one for me, one for you, two for me, one for you.
All right. Well, and the kids, probably your kids when they're little too, they go, Dad, have one, right? Sure. My kids too, they're like, Dad, which one do you want? And my husband has a sweet tooth, so he would just be all over that, right? But
having a plan for sure, not putting it in your house.
Yes.
One of the biggest and strongest ways to get away from it for sure. Right?
Yeah, or even just keep it out of sight, right? Because sometimes there are those people out there who have the spouse that isn't really supportive. It's really very sad. They're not trying to help. I mean, I'm sure if someone was quitting smoking, they wouldn't invite their friends over who smoke. They would go to that friend's house, but it's different.
If you're not smoking, you hang out with 5 people that smoke all the time. You'll smoke. Chances are you're probably going to smoke, right? Same for drinking, same for everything.
It's right. You are the same people you hang around with.
You are the sum of the parts.
You are. So hang around with the parts that are serving you.
So, you want to talk a little bit about Vegas, or you want to share something? You want to save that for a show? You went to Vegas?
I did go to Vegas, and we should do a show on how
we should do the show in Vegas.
We could do that. That'd be all right. I'll go back. We could do that, talking about travel.
Sure.
And how
travel and how to eat better.
Because first of all, I think we need to talk about blood sugar balance and why that's important. So we should do that. And then we can talk about how do you do that when you're out and about, not at home.
Yeah, for sure. Because
Right?
that's the toughest part, right?
Yes,
Staying in your routines when you're away, for
when
sure.
you're away. But when you set up good routines, it's not rocket science. But when you do that, like you just feel so good. So I had delays. I had this. I had that. I had flights moved. I had to rush. It was crazy. It was literally just Vegas and how things like go nuts. But when I arrived, I wasn't. Was full of energy, and I was up at 3 a.m. To catch my flight, and I was going till 11 o'clock at night. I still felt good, and then my head hit the pillow, and I was up in the morning.
I'm going to the Vancouver Auto Show Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
I have a vintage car.
What's that? You have a vintage car?
I do.
There you go. Yeah, I think these are new cars, but I think they might have some.
Okay, all right.
I'm staying in Airbnb so I can cook breakfast. I'll probably only eat out. I'll try to limit myself to once a day eating out.
Okay.
So only eat like twice a day, because to not end up gaining, because when you eat out, it's hard to stop the extras, for sure. So I'll eat a strong breakfast. Like the nice thing about an Airbnb, I have a full kitchen, and I'll fill it with fruit and water for the
Lots
evenings.
of good stuff. Yep.
And that'll be my kind of like snack at night. And so that's what I try to do if I can get a kitchen, whether that's in a hotel or in an Airbnb. I mean, I prefer the Airbnb because you kind of have,
you do have
especially if I'm
room.
working. I'm working too, right?
Yes.
So I need to put stuff around and stuff like that instead of like a 300 square foot hotel room, right?
I know, it's really hard to sit on the bed with your computer and do the
even if they give you a desk because it's way off in the corner and stuff like that. Right?
Yeah, it's hard sometimes. Yeah.
And then you have to try and watch. I watch a lot of YouTube at night, and trying to watch television in a hotel room with like cable with all those commercials, it's just almost impossible, right? So,
yeah.
For me, anyway.
For you, because that's part of your research. You need to do that, right?
I do a lot of learning, and I do a lot of learning on YouTube, just like we're doing right now.
Yeah,
we're providing some learning.
We're providing some learning. I do that too when I'm on the treadmill at the gym or when I'm out walking with my dog. I've got my buds in, and people think, "Oh, you're listening to some cool music." No, I'm listening to some science thing or some doctor thing or something like that.
Let's do a show on containing the wolf, and that's like. Especially when the wolf is out traveling, right? And I feel like the wolf sometimes has a lot more to say than your willpower will ever have to say, right?
It is. Yeah, we can talk about all the things.
How to chain up the wolf.
How to chain him up. Put him back in the cage.
That's enough for today, though.
All right. Yeah, that's good.
So that was great.
I love it.
Thank you, Tania. And this show has been sponsored by Fit Nutrition. That's with Tania Gustafson. And Fuel, Ignite, Thrive.
That's right.
Thank you for watching Kelowna Now.